What's going on? We're here at the sit down with Horizon Worlds legendary iGoByPrice, the creator of 134 questions, which will be upgraded to 143 questions, correct?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
143 questions. I love you. If you know Music Soul Child.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, so he's the vibe setter of Horizon Worlds. Listen, he got the aesthetics down packed. The vibes in
thank
his
you.
worlds are down packed, especially in the basement. I'm really excited about the pillow talk spot too. That was amazing.
Oh yeah, changes coming to that too. Since it's so fresh and new, it's not even really completed, but you all will see. It's gonna be really magical when it's all said and done.
Oh, everything you create is magical, man. I gotta
Oh, I
tell you.
appreciate that.
The one thing that I've noticed about your worlds is the aesthetics. Each one really there's a flow to your
Yeah.
worlds. It's this purple, we got some clouds, and it's just genuinely a vibe, even down to the music. We got R&B vibes in
hmm
each aspects, and I love that.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I'm a lover of R&B. I was raised by my mom mainly. That's what she listened to in the car and stuff like that. So that's where my ear for it came from. I didn't really start getting into like rap music like really and truly until probably middle school. But before that in elementary school, I was singing Temptation songs in the mirror in the bathroom. It wasn't.
Temptation, you got
Yeah,
something right now? Let me
Temptations.
hear something. Let me
Ah, don't put me on the spot.
let me
No.
hear something real quick. Come
Oh
on.
Lord, this gonna
Let's go,
sound terrible.
Price.
I ain't no singer.
Hey, what's going on? It's Last Girl on Earth. And if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button down below. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, share it with your friends, comment below, and I'll see you in the metaverse.
It
You
was
got it.
just my imagination. You know this
Yeah.
song? Yeah. Running away with me. It was just my imagination.
What'd he say? Running
Running
away.
away with me. Yeah. So them my vocals. So yeah.
Give it up for Bryce. That was
I try.
lit. That was the first
Yeah.
ever. That was an exclusive. That was the first time we've ever had someone singing on here. That's awesome.
Y'all
Really,
Horizon
really lit.
people got me singing. Isha got me singing too. That Usher challenge. Did you see that?
There
That
was
was
the Usher challenge.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Superstar,
Wait,
the
but
intro
in
to
real life
Superstar.
or just Avatar?
Oh no, we actually sent her voice messages and she put us all into like a reel. You gotta look it up. You should too shy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll check that out.
that
That's
was
fun.
dope.
That's awesome though. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so tell us, we got a little bit about you, tell us a little bit more about you and then how that made you step into the metaverse. Like what experiences led you into the metaverse?
Okay. All right. Well, I'm originally from Richmond, Virginia, born and raised. I just recently moved to Buffalo, New York about 3 years ago. Um, Growing up, raised by my mom, my dad was around. That's where the whole R&B came from, like I was mentioning. Um, and I don't know, just growing up as a kid, using my imagination, I was always into art. I was the kid that when I got to high school, when you got to pick your electives and stuff like that, I want to be in art class. I want to be in art class every single time. It really literally was never a year I was never in art in school, period. And then when I got to college, I majored in fine arts. I was a graphic design major. I really have a passion for more hands-on 3D art and things like that, and not so much digital art until I got in here. So
Oh
coming
wow,
into
okay.
Horizon Worlds, I have a little bit of experience. I was also an art teacher for about 2 years, I believe, and then I moved and I didn't continue pursuing teaching. But it was a blast teaching students my passion and love for art and seeing them come into a classroom, have no experience, doubting themselves. I had a girl tell me one time she couldn't draw a straight line, and I told her to write her name, and she literally drew a straight line, and she was laughing about that. I'm like, see, you can do it. Like build putting the seed into the younger souls so they can grow up
Yeah.
and blossom into something special that we all know they can. But the whole teaching aspect, I do want to bring in here too. So my art career, it's just me on Instagram for the most part. I've sold commissions before and things like that, but being in Horizon Worlds, I felt like this would be a greater space for me to grow as an artist. And not to mention my work that I've done in here thus far has already been like receptive so well, if that's the right word. I can't even think straight. But
Got you.
But my inspiration coming into Horizons, the reason I came into Horizons is really nothing special. I literally won my Oculus from my current employer, and I got on
Oh,
here. Yeah, I wasn't one of the ones that went out and bought it. I actually won it, didn't know what it was. People were hitting me up in my office email like, "Hey, Marcus, you won a Oculus." And I'm like, I really don't know what that is. I recently found out my son was going to get one from Christmas from my mom, and I started
oh,
looking into it. I'm like, oh, this is a VR headset. And so at the
yeah.
time, I thought it was like one of the basic ones I had to put my cell phone in and like watch stuff like that. But then when I got it and I realized what it was, I'm like, okay, let's cancel the Xbox Live subscription because I'm not going to be on there. I was a heavy gamer on Call of Duty for a long time. And Horizon Worlds really opened my eyes to something special. Um, it really like the community in here and connecting is like something I have never experienced. And not to mention the
In
people
real
of
life, you
color in
mean?
here.
You
Yeah,
mean
in real life,
yeah,
in this
yeah.
capacity, I've never been in such a small space in a sense with so much talent and people that
Yes.
look like me. Like I went to a
Yeah.
HBCU and everything, and we have our tight knit communities within the art community and HBCUs. But even still, I've never seen or been around this many creatives in one time. It's like every day is like a convention. You meet new people that create on here and stuff like that. So back to your question about getting into Horizon Worlds and inspiration and stuff like that. Um,
Was there
I
like a
don't know if
commercial or like how did
oh
you even
no,
like? Oh, okay.
nothing. There was no commercial. I literally downloaded venues and I
Oh, it
saw
started
that
with
it was
venues.
yeah, I think a lot of people started with venues that came in around my time. But I started with venues, went to a couple little shows here and there, and then I'm like, oh, okay, there's this other app called Horizon Worlds. What is this? I looked at it and like it's free. I'm gonna download it. Clicked it, downloaded it. It sat there a couple of days. I think I downloaded it like a little after Christmas, and then I didn't actually really fully get on the platform maybe till late December or early January.
Mm,
Um, but it was just I clicked on the app and downloaded it and came in here and then found out what Horizon Worlds was
right.
and didn't even know that I could build on here. And then I met Hardy West, of course. His world was popping at the time. It was at the top of the list for, worlds to visit. So I went, ended up meeting him like the second time I went there, I'd say, had a conversation with him. And that's when I realized, oh, this is a place where anybody can create. You know what I mean? Because I thought he worked for Facebook. I'm like, so how do I get on? You know what I mean? But he's like, no, I'm
Yeah,
just a
I would
regular
have thought the
person.
same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, I'm a regular person. I'm like, whoa, that blew my mind. And then we kind of built a little relationship from there. And then that's when I started to build the R&B lounge because there wasn't a space for that. It was Vivid, Hardy World, and that was pretty much it that I knew of. But you know how we can get
And
trapped in these
what was
bubbles.
yeah, gotcha. What
Yeah.
was the vibes in like Hardy World and Vivid? And how does
Um,
that differentiate from yours?
the vibe when I felt, I mean, the vibe I felt when I went into Hardy World was like a black dude or somebody of color made this. Like the vibe felt like home when I went in there.
I
I
got
felt
you.
like I was back on, my block or something like that. When I went in there, and it was pretty dope. But it's just like me, my personality. A lot of people know like I'm real chill, mellow, even killed. Like 99.9% of the time, I'm not one to get riled up. Like if you hear me yell, you should run because it's not gonna be pretty. If I get to that level, you know what I mean? So
Right.
with my chill, laid back vibe, I needed that here. I didn't want to be like, you know what I'm saying, partying all the time like that. I like to sit, chill, relax in real life. So I built the R&B lounge and I built it around a playlist that I had created around last fall or something like that. And I was just listening to that playlist while I built, and I feel like that's part of the reason why the music fits so well to the world because
Mm,
it's what I was listening to. It was put into my spirit to build what I built. And when I
wow.
sat there and stood in it as I kind of built it up, because when I first published the R&B Lounge, it looked nothing kind of like how it did, like the older one, if you've seen it, the original one. But as I sat in my world and kept building, it just became more and more special. And I told myself, like, man, like this is really me that I'm sitting in. Like, this is my art, this is my mind, this is my soul that I'm sitting in right now. And that just kind of like did something to me. And that's why I ended up creating all my worlds in the stars with the clouds and the lights. Like, it's a whole
Mm,
thing. Because in reality, in virtual reality or real life, we're sitting in like my dream in a sense. So that's why everything is
mm,
connected. If you go to Pillow Talk, that is like the backyard to Price's Place because I'm doing a whole revamp of Price's Place. If you've ever been to Price's Place, it's like my trophy house. It's like a glass house. It has like a cloud cave in it and everything. But I got to the point where I wanted to do so much in there, and with capacity in here, you're limited. So I'm thinking to myself, what can I do? And I knew I wanted to become a better builder. So I was like, let me build something and try to be as detailed as possible with what we have. And that's where the basement came about. And the basement is also a part of Price's Place. It's a room inside of the house. So when you go to the Pillow Talk world and you look at the house, that's actually Price's Place. It's no longer a glass house anymore. It's just like a mini mansion, if you will.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go through and build each room as its own individual world, and they're all going to be connected somehow. All of them are going to be in the clouds and the stars, because it's like a part of my dream that I'm not trying to let y'all wake up from.
Yo,
Yeah,
that was a line right there.
yeah,
That was beautiful, man. It's
that's
like
really
part
how I
of my
wanted to be.
dream that I'm not trying to make you guys wake up from.
Yeah, if you go to Price's
That was a
Place,
bar. That was
yeah, I
a
appreciate that. I
bar.
might have to quote that. But
Yeah,
yeah,
quote that, bro. Quote that.
if you go to Price's Place, there is a street sign that says Price's Sweet Dream. And that's kind of like an Easter egg into that whole idea. And some people might call it a metaverse, but it's like it is my metaverse, my world, but it's also like my dream, my imagination, my soul. And it's so incredible that people get to like walk through that and feel physically in that. Like, I don't know. I be thinking on such a deeper level. I don't want to like ramble too much, but
Nah,
like
you
that's
good.
so powerful to me. It's so powerful to
Yeah.
me.
I mean, I
Yeah.
definitely have enjoyed myself in your worlds and catch
Thank you.
myself just singing, and I don't even know who's around. I really don't be caring. I just be
Yeah.
so caught up in the vibe. It's
I'm
just
the
so
same way.
phenomenal. I'm just like
Yeah.
twirling around, just singing with my arms up. Like I miss
Yeah.
that also. So that nostalgia really brings me
Hmm.
back to like those times when I used to go out and stuff. So it's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. It's really a beautiful thing. So I have a question for you.
Yeah, for sure.
How was your learning curve when you first started building in here?
Mm, man,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
tough. It was
Yeah.
tough. And that is
Yeah.
why I've gone back and rebuilt things. One being the R&B lounge. When I first got in here and I started building, which at the time I knew it was going to be some kind of like club lounge space. When I got the idea to put it like in quote unquote heaven in a sense, I didn't know what I was doing. I was making a staircase, and the staircase looked like a wave. It was like rippling like this. I didn't know what a snap tool
Oh.
was. Didn't know what a snap tool was probably
Well,
for
did you
like
even have a snap tool then?
I did. I did have a
Oh,
snap tool
okay.
then.
Okay.
Yeah, this was like January. I had a snap tool at
January.
the time. I don't know if it was like not given to everybody. I don't know, but I had a snap tool. I actually talked to I don't know if it was Hardy or Danica. It was one of them because I was kind of trying to get information from both of them. And one of them, I know Danica for sure said, "Don't be afraid to start over. Like, do not be afraid to hit the delete button and delete everything and start from scratch." So that
Yeah, that's really
really took
powerful.
me a long, yeah, that took me a long way. And I think it might have been Hardy that told me about the snap tool or something. But essentially, I deleted the whole staircase that I started that
Okay.
y'all see in the Prices R&B Prices R&B Cloud Lounge. So I deleted the whole wavy rippling staircase and really took the time and rebuilt it and snapped it and everything. And I actually had multiple variations of the staircase. There was the original one when I perfected how to do stairs. It actually had landings. It had like two landings, and there was like candles on light posts that go up the stairs, and it was plants
Oh.
and everything. It looked
Well, how
nice.
romantic.
Exactly. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm a hopeless romantic, so that's
Are you
why it's the
romantic
vibe.
in real life though?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Ah, that's
But
nice.
yeah, that's why I like that vibe and everything. Um,
Got you.
but yeah, the learning curve was kind of crazy, and as I started building and building and building, I noticed like, okay, I'm getting better at this every
Mm.
single world I build. And so I do and did want to go back and recreate some of the worlds. But to be honest with you, if you look at building as like something simple like Legos, it will really kind of transform your mind into believing you could build anything in here. And I do believe that you can really build anything in here. It's just what are you going to sacrifice to get that particular thing to look like how you want it? Are you going to sacrifice
Mm.
the time? Are you going to like sit there and study like a reference photo of what the object is to make it look realistic or what have you? Because being an art teacher, I teach my students about implied lines. Like a lot of people say they can't draw, but if you break down the human body or anything we see in the real world, everything is shapes. Literally everything is shapes. So implied lines is like how like I'm looking at you. A matter of fact, from your perspective, you're looking at me. If you were to draw me, if you focus your eyes on my shoulder, and where the colors change from whatever the color of the background is over here and the color of my jacket, you will see
Right.
a line. And if you just mimic that visually on paper or in here with the objects, you will come out with something that looks pretty close to what you're trying to do. So trying to just change your mindset and look at things from a different perspective. It makes it easier for you to build. And that did benefit me, but it was definitely a struggle in the beginning, like trying to build things and make them look realistic. I thought certain things look real dope. Went to other people's worlds, like, yeah, that's cool. I don't know what I was thinking. Let me go back, kind of thing.
Gotcha.
And I still do that to this day. You'll see me walk into somebody's world at an event, and I would literally be walking around like looking at the walls, like looking
The
at like
details.
what shape did they use to do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the learning curve was definitely something I had to get over the hump of
Yeah.
just being in a 3D space because I had never been in VR before December
Gotcha.
ever for
Yeah.
real. So
So,
yeah.
when was it from the moment that you started learning to the moment that you actually published your world? How long was that?
It was maybe a week and a half to 2 weeks when I
Are you
started the lounge.
serious?
Yeah, when I started the lounge and finished it. But mind you, the lounge was not what it looked like now. If I go back to the OG lounge, it was
Gotcha.
literally. And my day ones know this. It was literally when you walked up the stairs were still there, but it was more clouds actually. It was more clouds, and the clouds were not lit like they are now. Shout out to Herbert Joyce Jr. He's the one that told me about lighting and the invisible boxes and all that. I didn't know until I went into his studio and he told me about it, and that changed my life. Herbert changed my life. Honestly, shout out.
Shout out to Herbert.
Yeah, and so looking back at my first lounge, it was just more clouds, a staircase. There was like not even a whole bar. It was like half of a bar that didn't have nothing in it, no bottles, no nothing, a circle pool, and those sofas that you see in there. And that was pretty much it. There was no second platform, I don't believe, or anything like that. So going back and looking at that, I'm sorry,
You've
I'm
come a
losing my
long
train of
way.
thought. Yeah,
No,
I've come
no,
a
no,
long
you're
way.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
you've
trying to
come a
get
long
back on
way.
there. Sorry
Yeah.
if I ramble, y'all.
Nah,
But
you good. Look, I'm here to sit down and talk to you about you.
yeah,
And so I appreciate that. So the learning
yeah,
curve was a little bit difficult, but you
it
listen, you
was.
released it in a week and a half. It took me almost 2 months to release my one world.
And you know what?
But
You know
I'm an
what that was?
overthinker and a
Exactly.
perfectionist. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what
So
I was about to say. That's why.
and
Because for me,
you got out of your way.
yeah, so that's another thing I want to kind of tell the community, like don't be afraid to release stuff in quote unquote beta and it not be finished. Like Pillow Talk is not finished, but I
It's
released it
beta.
because it's
Yeah.
yeah, but it's finished enough for people to still come in and enjoy the environment. And
Right.
also, it's one thing to have testers, but it's one thing to release your world and then everybody's in there because they will find stuff. So I felt it was
Yeah,
more
that's true.
beneficial to release it early, get people's feedback. Hey, what do you think is missing? What could it use to bring people in, have people interact with stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why I released it so early. I think I might do a video and walk around my original one.
I
Cause
think you
speaking,
should. Definitely show
yeah, I
your
recently
progress
found it.
too.
I
Yeah.
recently found it in the black hole of 30 million, collaborations and all those different worlds you
30
started.
million.
30 million. I tell you,
Ah.
I'll sit there 5 minutes scrolling through that list because I've been added
Yeah.
to so many and I've started so many and didn't finish. Just like my
Yeah.
art studio would be if I was painting, it would be a lot of unfinished paintings in there. Like I have
Yeah.
stipplings at home right now that I haven't finished. I have when I started like 3-4 years ago and it's still not finished.
All
But
right. So let's talk a little bit about like unfinished art because I feel
yeah.
like a lot of the art that we even experience are unfinished. How do you know
Mm,
when to just step out of your own way? Like how it took me to almost 2 months, right?
yeah.
And at one point I had to just like let go. You know what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
it took me 2 months. For you, it was like, okay, I'll just release this right now. How do you
Yeah.
know? Like, how do you prep yourself to be like, yo, let's just get it out there?
Yeah. For me, I don't know. It's hard to explain. I would say it's a threshold internally within myself where I feel
Mm,
satisfied. But at the same time, not satisfied. But like I was mentioning, releasing it early to get that input that I might be missing. Because you can stand in your own world for as long as you want. It is going to be your world. But if you want to please other people, like they need to see it. They need to give you that like feedback or whatnot. Um, so
is it important to keep other people's perspective in mind when you're creating, or should it just be only your own perspective and
it's
your
kind of a
own
line
design?
that you sorry to cut you off.
Go
There is
ahead.
definitely a line that you teeter with that. I would say you should be leaning about to fall over onto the side of yourself because art is, expression. You should be expressing yourself, your feelings, your thoughts that you may not be able to articulate with your words. But
Right.
also with that, there might be a space which, like in here, this is kind of like a gaming platform in a sense. So you would do, at least for me, you may want to build an audience, is what I would call it. You want to build an audience, regulars and things like that. So like you do want to get some of that information and apply it to your own imagination and to yourself. Like
Right.
I build in here with a lot of people, and when I say build, I don't mean in here putting cubes and triangles and all that stuff together. I'm talking about just conversations and building off of people's thoughts and their imagination and grabbing a little bit of what they have and putting it into what you can do, because that's how you grow. Allow other people to water you as a flower. You know what I'm saying? Like we can't water ourselves. So our inspiration and all that, it comes from a lot of different places. Like for me, a lot of my inspiration comes from music. Music really takes me away. It's like my escape really from the world. And that's another reason for the theme, like with a whole playlist and everything. Like it really does take me away to a place that I'm not on Earth. That's kind of tying into my whole aspect of it being in the stars and the clouds and space. So like it's just a thin line essentially that you'd have to, walk. And I would
Right.
say if you're going to fall to either side of that line, fall to the side of yourself, but still have a door open for other people's input into that, because
Got you.
it's mainly going to be beneficial. You can dissect what people say and pull what you want from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
absolute sense. And I asked that because I feel like in the past week or two, I've been hearing a lot about, oh, create a world with like high user experience, user experience, user
Hmm.
experience. So should that be also in the front lines of your design? Or
Um,
again, just do whatever you want as long as it makes
Yeah,
you happy.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, asking that question, it depends on what you want to do in this space. Some people are literally here just to create and to release, and that's it. They're not looking for anything. But if you
Mm.
do want to have people connect with your world, I would say it is a part that you would want to really consider. And to be honest with you, I didn't really understand that until the basement when I built my most detailed
Mm.
world. And to be honest, that world was intentionally meant for the game Taboo. I wanted it to be a place where people can come, sit on the sofa, and play Taboo together. If you know the game, you got to get your team to guess the word without saying the other words on the card. But it ended up turning into just like this cool space that looks so realistic. I ended up releasing it, but I'm like, wait, there's nothing in here though. And so with the asset library that had been recently like released, I was like, let me just throw a couple games in here just to give something people to do. Like not really
And that's the
focusing
user
on that.
experience.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
That's it. And when I did that, I realized, wow, these numbers are like going up tremendously. Like people are in
Ah,
there.
okay.
And I was the type of person at the beginning, like, because I'm so into music, I'm like, I gotta have music in every single one of my worlds. But I realized that's not the case. Like the barbershop doesn't have a playlist. The basement doesn't have a playlist. Space Junk and Go does not have a playlist in it. But people still go and they still enjoy themselves because it's not always about music or, something like that. It could be something to interact with, like creating, I don't know. Like I've seen somebody has, it might be multiple people have like the kind of like a sip and paint where you can actually paint
Oh
what's
yeah,
actually
yeah.
there.
I've
So
seen that.
having
Yeah, it's
that's going
awesome.
to naturally keep people in your world for a long
That's the
period of
user
time.
experience. Yeah.
Exactly, your user experience, just like spades and blackjack, like those games and things like that. It takes time to get through that process. So having something where it keeps people in and they interact with it, like a scavenger hunt,
Hmm.
I don't know, some other things, like something like a game typically, or some escape room. A lot of people were in the escape rooms. I don't know if people still are, but in here
I
there
get
were
too
a lot of
frustrated
escape rooms.
after a while if I can't if I
I've
can't
literally only
figure
done
it
a lot.
out. I'm just like, I gotta go. I gotta go. I just menu
Yeah, I feel
open,
you.
go home or something.
Yeah, I
Take a
feel you
nice
on that.
reset. Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
totally
but
understand.
it's yeah, it's
Go ahead.
definitely an important aspect of creating is the user experience, but it's not necessary
Yeah.
depending on what your goal is in here.
Right.
Like I want to personally be able to create in here and make money in here to the point where I don't have to work a typical
Nine
nine
to
to five
five.
job. I don't
Got
want to
you.
clock in. Um,
Yeah.
so it just all depends on what you want to do, but it is definitely something I think is important though. The user
Right.
experience. Yeah.
I definitely agree as well. But I do also respect and admire like lounges, like the lounges that
Hmm.
you have, where it's just a vibe. You
Yeah.
know, the experience itself is the vibe,
Hmm.
you know? But there isn't
Yeah.
anything that's too interactive, like a game, like a ping pong or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
It's just literally a vibe with amazing aesthetics. And
Yeah,
I think that's where your line is at, on that in between of user experience and leaning towards yourself. So I
yeah,
definitely I love that.
I
I
agree with
love
that.
that
Thank you.
about your lounges. I want to, before I start talking about the monetization, because you did mention it, I want to go back a little bit. I feel like a lot of builders are always stuck in build mode, build mode, build mode, build mode. But
Mhm.
you said that you've actually stepped out and you've world hopped. What is the importance for builders to maybe step out of their world and
Okay.
begin world hopping? Is that like an important aspect that they should incorporate in their day to
For
days in Horizon
sure.
worlds? Mm.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely something that's needed. I started out as a world hopper, like a lot of these like top creators did, quote unquote top creators, or people that you just know, popular people that build. I think it's easy to say a lot of us ended up as world hoppers originally, then we got into building and became addicted, like building junkies. That's why you see so many people online.
Building junkies, got
Yes,
you.
building junkies. But
Yeah.
it is important to world hop. I just had a conversation with a creator in here that was telling me they were kind of like they knew what they wanted to do, but they were kind of not driven, not really inspired to like build on the creation they had already started. And I'm just like, sometimes you just got to get out and world hop, like either world hop or go listen to music or something like that, or just hang out with friends in one of your own worlds. But back to your main question, I'm sorry. The world hopping thing is important because you might run into something that you have not seen before, and it gets your wheels turning. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's, I honestly think that's where a lot of the "oh, you stole my idea" comes from world hopping and stuff like that, and people seeing stuff and being
And
inspired.
being inspired, yeah.
Yeah, and for me personally, just to touch on that topic of stealing someone's idea or something like that, I don't think it's necessarily stealing an idea unless you literally duplicate what it is. But from what I've seen of all the cases of someone stole my stuff, for the most part, it's they've taken an idea and kind of twisted it a little bit. So it's not the
Yeah.
original one. You know what I mean? And that has been art for its entire existence, you know, in my opinion. Everything has been seen before. There's nothing that hasn't really been seen unless it's literally outside of this world. If it's in this
Yes.
world, it's been seen. You know what I mean? Um,
Right.
so if you go world hopping, don't copy, of course, but really soak in like things that you see other people enjoy. For instance, trying to think of a real good example of this. It could even be color palette, like how a lot of people really like my clouds and the color scheme and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it would be nothing to for someone to go in my world, see the color scheme, and like, oh, I really love this. I want to use this color palette in my world and use it in their world. I do not care. Like, do your thing. I enjoy hearing about people like wanting to use like my clouds or like wanting to kind of mimic something I've done before. Like I am literally honored when I hear that. Um, because it means your work is appreciated. And
Yes, I do
I
agree.
feel like I'm getting off topic again with this. I'm rambling.
Nah,
But
you're all the way in.
okay,
Go
for sure. I
ahead.
feel locked
You
into what I'm
just
trying to
tie
say.
it in. You tie it
Yeah.
in. You got it.
Yeah. But world hopping is definitely something you for sure need to do, especially if you're
Yeah.
stuck, you know. It's
It's kind of just like
uh
writer's block for a writer.
yeah, yeah,
You know, sometimes you
exactly.
gotta maybe either read a book or like
Yeah.
watch a YouTube video or even listen to music.
Yeah, because
Maybe
you never know.
you need that spark again, and
Exactly.
life is the spark. So experiencing different places
Yes,
and
that's the only
different
way to grow
people.
is experiencing new things. And that's that's
Yes.
that's the best way to put it. I was rambling all that time for you to say it in so little words. Thank you so much. But yeah, that's what it
Yeah.
is. Like you don't know where
Yeah.
that spark is going to come from either. You could literally walk
Yes.
into a world and just see something unrelated to your build, but it sparks an idea like randomly. You can't explain it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like, yeah.
Yeah. I do believe also like depending on the creator, like that vibe could resonate like
Mhm.
beyond. I actually experienced that where I went to someone's world, not in Horizon World, and
Mhm.
I'm very sure it's gonna come up in another episode, so I don't want to give up too much. But I was in another metaverse,
Mhm.
and they brought me to their gallery, and I was blown away in
Mhm.
VR in this headset, and I was bawling my eyes out.
Okay, I was
Bawling
gonna
my
actually piggyback with the
I would have
question.
never thought that I would experience something like that in VR with this Oculus
Yeah.
on. But I was bawling in tears. I was so honored to even experience. that space.
Yeah, I feel you on that. And I was gonna follow up with the question: have you ever cried? Like just looking at a
I
world in here.
have.
I
I
have too,
have.
multiple
Is
times.
isn't that just wild? You know, because
Yeah.
in real life, if we go to a gallery, it's stagnant.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we're experiencing something and there's a vibe, but like anything with paintings or sculptures, it's a bit stagnant. Here, it's something about the senses that it does
Yeah.
to the brain. You know, like me visually, like having this right in my eyes, like the senses are doing something completely different to my brain, where I
Mm-hmm.
feel the connection deeper
Yes.
versus
Yes.
versus in the real world going to
Yes.
like a museum or
I
anything
talk
like
about
that.
that all the time. Like just energy
Yeah.
in here is different. Like it's amplified in here, in my opinion. I
Yes.
have this
Yes.
discussion with so many people. It's crazy that you bring that up because I don't know what it is. Like we're looking at avatars and things, but I feel people's souls in here. Like it's so crazy. I
Mm.
might be alone in that. I don't know. And I might sound crazy, but I really
Hey,
agree
they
with
might
that.
do the
Like the
uploading,
energy.
man. They might do the
Hey,
because he said so.
yeah, maybe,
I'll
maybe.
actually be down though. I'll be down. I upload my conscious in here. If this
Yeah.
is the cloud, I'm kind of with it.
Oh yeah, I'm kind of with it too. I ain't gonna lie to you. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a beautiful
Yeah,
space.
that the energy though. Yeah, the energy is just amazing, you know.
Yeah.
You get your fair share of the weirdos, and I've said this in
Hmm.
in a previous episode, but you get your fair share of weirdos, but that's
Yeah.
life. You
People
know what I'm
trolling too.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, people trolling, but you got to know how to maneuver through and find your own lane, find your own tribe. And even if you
Hmm.
have to switch up on the tribe because you're outgrowing the tribe, that's okay. That is
Yeah.
perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that, you know. Just
I
leave
like
at
that you said
peace.
that.
That's it.
Yeah, the whole
Hmm.
tribe thing I want to piggyback off of too. Cause I was just talking, I was on
You
Burden's
think if maybe we
spot.
could say this is kind of like probably annoying, but I
What
don't really like piggyback. Can we say veggie bag?
veggie bag? Oh, okay. You
Veggie
vegan?
bag. Yeah. I'm a vegetarian. Yeah.
Vegetarian. I got you. Okay, yeah. Veggie bag. I got you. All love.
Veggie back, yeah. It feels good.
Yeah,
Go
so
ahead.
yeah, I like that. It's cute. So veggie backing off of you. With the whole what is the term you just used? Because it slipped my mind. I'm sorry.
But
For the click. Did you say click or did you say
oh,
community?
tribe. I said tribe.
Tribe, yeah, great
Yeah, yeah,
word.
tribe.
So
Yeah.
building the tribe in here. So like we were talking about the energy of my space and the vibe within my space, and I talked about it on Burden Spot. When you build and create for yourself, your people that you would want to meet in the real
They will
world,
come. Your tribe
they're
will come.
attracting. You're attracting
Yes.
them with that. So you naturally will run into people that have your same energy. That's where I believe I met some of the people who kind of like I feel like really helped me like build myself in here, which is CJ Shotlow and Biggie Pauls. Those were two individuals who came into my lounge and just felt the vibe and naturally wanted to be my friend and help me, like
That's
without
beautiful.
question. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. I was just talking to Biggie a few minutes ago about the beginnings, like earlier on and when we met and stuff like that. And me and CJ were like real close. We're like brothers now. But because of what I created and I created it for myself, they felt it, they enjoyed it, and we're real tight because we share that connection. You know what I mean? So when you build for yourself, you will draw in the people who you really, in my opinion, need in your life or would want in your life because you all thinking on the same wavelength and everything.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Yeah.
Dot too. Me and Dot is really like that too. Like I
Yo, shout
feel
out
like
to that. I
sometimes,
just hit him up too, cause like, yo, you man my age, but I get it. You living in the real
yeah,
world or
yeah, he got to
whatever.
tap out. Yeah, he gonna tap back
Yeah.
in at some point, I'm sure. But yeah, Dot's one of
Yeah.
those
I'm
people
excited for
too.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, me and him, I feel like sometimes share the same consciousness on things. Like we talk a bit, and we share a lot of similarities in thought processes and things like that too. And it kind of goes full circle just to like when you build for yourself and and you express yourself like that, you naturally will attract people with your same mindset, which is what everybody should be wanting to do.
Yeah.
That's how
Similar
you avoid
energies.
the fake stuff that
That's a
people be talking
fact.
about. Like that's how
That's a
you avoid
fact.
that. Yeah, be yourself
Yeah.
in here so you'll attract who you supposed to attract.
I feel like the more you are yourself, the more those that have been fake the entire time
Yeah,
will kind of distance themselves like
that
naturally
happens.
because
Yeah,
you're so real that they're like it's something in them that's like yo I know I'm fraudulent. I gotta like step away from this. Like I'm gonna get exposed,
yeah,
and you know I'd rather just
yeah.
not.
I've
Because
seen that
in
firsthand
real
actually.
life that has happened to me, and it actually
Yeah,
also happened in here. So I'm like okay, well the more I'm myself, the more I'm like my energy is resonated and is showing that I'm not with all that fake stuff or
yeah,
whatever it may be. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
for sure.
Uh, but even more so than just fake. I don't like toxic energy. You know, like
Yeah,
that toxic energy is not something that I
I
keep
don't
around.
like
As soon as I
conflict either.
feel it, and it doesn't like make me, yeah, you got to go like immediately. You got to
Yeah,
go, you know?
yeah,
And I do think that we give each other like too many chances sometimes. Sometimes it's just got to be one and done, you know?
yeah,
One
yeah. I
time
agree
for
with that.
toxicity. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
kind of like spiraling a little bit, but it all ties into
It's okay.
energy.
It's all
It all
good.
ties
Yeah,
into the energy. Yeah, yeah.
the vibe, the energy. Yeah.
Yo, facts. All right. So let's go into the monetization. You said you would love to. Me personally, my goal is to be able to afford a lifestyle where I could be in here, like all day,
Mm-hmm.
if I could. You
Yeah,
know
me
what I
too.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because I love this. I really, really have a passion for this. This is phenomenal. I've done things in the real world where I'm just like, okay, I don't want to be seen anymore. Let's,
Yeah.
this is dope. I love, love, love this. So how would someone, what are some type of businesses or worlds that they could create where they can monetize? I know I again do not have the monetization aspect just yet. Do you have the Do you have
Yeah,
the You
yeah, I
do?
do.
Oh, okay.
I do. In my R&B lounge, there is the Guardians of R&B Halo. It's essentially like a VIP access card. Gives you
Oh,
access to the
got you.
skybox. Horizon Worlds, we need more capacity because I'm trying to do some magical things in there. Um, but
Told you.
it gives you access to certain wearables that other people can't wear, access to the room up there, which hopefully I'll be able to put more things in there and do a lot of more stuff in there to make it exclusive and really feel like you're getting your money's worth.
Right.
Um, but in order to monetize in here, I mean, it depends on what you want to like, what you think monetization is. Like, there's people in here who make a lot of money, probably more money compared to the people who are monetized. Just
Mm.
building worlds, building assets, creating things that drive people to their real world businesses.
Uh,
Bay Aroma Center is one of those people. I just put my friend Ed's his beard butter, EBO beard butter. Shout out to Ed if you end up
oh
watching
yeah,
this,
yeah. I
bro.
seen that on
It's
your
all love.
Instagram. That
Yeah.
was
So
dope.
like
Yeah.
putting that in there, driving business, like seeing products in here,
So
that's
bringing
another way.
businesses in the real world in here and vice versa.
Yes. And vice
Got
versa.
you.
Yes. Cause I
Got you.
personally want to bring my brand outside of the metaverse in some way. I'm still brainstorming and trying to plan strategically with that, but that's something that is for sure going to be coming. You'll see, my brand outside of the metaverse.
Got
Hopefully
you.
before the end of 2022. Yeah.
Yeah. I look forward to that definitely. So
Yeah.
ultimately, like you can live a pretty decent lifestyle off of the metaverse.
That's a fact. That's a
That's
fact. That's a fact hands down. And we in the beginning stages. I tell people like my friends in the real world, and whoever else asks me, because people see my social media. I've gotten people on Oculuses because they see my posts. Um,
Did you get your referral link? Did you?
I don't be giving that out. Maybe I should put that on my
Uh,
profile. I don't know.
Yo, you should, bro. You
I
get like
should.
$30 or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. I should definitely do that.
It adds up. It
Um,
adds up.
yeah, for sure. But come on, I'm forgetting the question
Nah, you
again.
good. We talk about monetization. We talk about money.
Okay,
yeah,
got you.
yeah.
So I know I mentioned something about monetization. I've kind of walked through it a little bit. What was your specific question?
I
I know
was
you were
talking
asking.
about can
Yeah.
you live a pretty decent lifestyle off of the metaverse?
Oh yeah, I got down the tunnel and I kind of blacked out. So yeah, you can, and we're in the early stages. That's now back on track. So how I explain it to people is like, I don't know how old you are, but when YouTube first came out, people were just posting ridiculous things on there for the most part, and like it was
Uh,
a bunch of random stuff. It still is random stuff, but now you see YouTube, they have channels. It's more of a purpose. It's driven. People are driven on there down a particular lane. This is like how YouTube was before YouTube was monetized. Like it's
mm.
in the early stages, and in my opinion, it will blow up like how a YouTube blew up, how Twitter blew up, like all these applications that started out so small. I remember when Instagram came out, you had to have an iPhone to get on Instagram. And I sure as
Oh
hell bought
yeah,
an
it
iPhone
was. It
because of
was
Instagram.
exclusive to iPhone,
Yeah,
huh?
I literally bought an iPhone for Instagram. I was really into tech. I'm still kind of into tech. I just don't follow it as much, but I was really into tech back then, researching online all day long, watching videos and stuff like that. But I feel like that's what this is. It's the early stages. Meta's trying to figure it out because this is a brand new platform, uncharted
Yeah.
territory. They're trying to figure out how they can make money in here and then also how they can help creators make a living in here. Mark Zuckerberg said it himself. People are going to be able to make a living in here. You know what I mean?
Uh,
So I think it's definitely opportunities in here to make money, whether you're working for an agency that builds in here, whether you're an independent contractor that builds in here, and you start your own business creating, start a website, advertise yourself. That's a big part of it. But yeah, for
Right.
sure.
So
There's
those are
money to be
just
made everywhere.
those are some
Yeah,
ways to position yourself to make sure that you are
correct.
part of the blow up
Yeah.
seasons that to come. All right.
Yeah.
So becoming a builder, maybe even a scripter.
Scripter. Yeah.
Yeah, scripter's big, isn't it?
I put scripters over builders in my opinion, because scripting to me is
Wow.
what brings your world alive. It
No
changes your world
shade.
from a rock.
Listen, I'm gonna say it for
Hey,
him. No shade.
I'm a builder myself. Y'all know I do not know how to script. Like I will ask people to script for me. I do not. I know a couple of scripts. That's about it. But
Yeah,
to me, scripting is more powerful, and I would love to see more people like dive into scripting, which I'm trying to do. So when I stop building, I'm gonna be focusing on scripting because, like I was saying, that brings your world alive. It's the scripting that you can, make a spray like a can of soda, pop, make a sound, pour out. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
The
And
sizzle. Oh
yeah,
yeah, that's
everything makes
awesome.
things more realistic. Like, and I know I'm gonna probably mention Beijing's name a lot. She dropped a lot of gems last night, but having things with gravity on it, she was absolutely right. And you know what's funny about that? In my original R&B lounge, I had gravity on stuff to make it feel more real. So when you like the phone that everybody was like laughing about this, that sneaky link on it, you used to could throw that phone and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
people were like got a kick out of that. But for me, it got to the point where I got tired of literally cleaning up after people in my world. Like they would just drop stuff on the ground, and then I don't want people to come in and say like, "Oh, this is trashy. What's going on here?" So that's why I stopped actually using gravity. But I agree with her 100%. Like the more interactive, going back to the user experience and all that stuff, the interactive things, like that really makes a huge, huge difference. And scripting is the main part of that. That's why I put the scripters above that.
Got you. I
Yeah.
was actually I was in the live between Rhonda and Hardy World that they did. And it was I think it was like a web-based type of live. But I was in
Hmm.
there and I posed a question like, do you think that the gaming field within Horizon Worlds would be the first to
Yeah.
peak in monetization? Basically the first to gain the most revenue
Mm.
in Horizon Worlds. Or do you think that maybe the lounges and art spaces would be the ones to peak? I actually said nightclubs, but I'm adding a little bit more here.
Yeah, I would have to
Yeah.
say the games though, because it's already a proven thing. Microtransactions. I feel like that's the reason Grand Theft Auto has not released another Grand Theft Auto because they're making money off microtransactions in that space. And so for me, I see that as like the most the biggest opportunity to gain a lot of revenue is that you of course going to be able to gain revenue through these other spaces, but the gaming industry and the games on here I think will always have like the lead when it comes to being monetized and generating revenue and everything.
Got you. I do agree with you
Yeah, there's
100%. I see the
so
gaming.
many capabilities,
Yeah, there are. I mean,
possibilities
there's
I should say.
personally speaking, I do believe that there's multiple ways of uh getting some sort of revenue
Yeah, of
through
course.
the metaverse,
Yeah,
whether it's building for others, bringing brands in here, or creating a game where people are like constantly doing microtransactions of like, oh, let me get a speed boost, and then you pay like two
exactly.
dollars or $4 or $5. I was speaking to someone yesterday, and they were saying, the kids are the ones that are really buying all these, you know, uh,
Hmm.
aspects inside people's worlds, like whatever it may be, like the
For sure.
access to the bar. Like I want to be able to like go to the bar and like pour a cup of coffee or pour a soda, but I have to like make sure that I pay for that access. you
Yeah,
know. So it's
kids will
things like
definitely
that
drive
with
it.
like yeah, like you said. So kids are definitely driving it. I was actually saying, I was like, yo, people really think that like our generations are the ones to like uh really make this. But
Hmm.
I genuinely believe that the next generation is what's gonna really make this
Yeah, they're gonna
something,
blow us out of the
you know.
water.
They,
But we're paved.
well,
But
he
we're
said
paving the
it.
way.
He said
We're
it. Yeah,
paving the
we're
way, though.
paving. Yeah, we're paving the way.
Yeah,
But those kids that are like they're trying to flood in here as well,
yeah.
and I think they're probably gonna have their own space in here, and
Hmm.
I'm excited to see that. I just spoke
Me
with
too.
Smile Honeychild, and she's taking care of a lot of the kids in here too, so
Yeah,
that's really
she's doing
awesome.
her thing.
Yeah, definitely. So what's next, Price? Like, what's next for you? What are you looking
That's
to
a good
expand
question.
on? What are you looking to develop? You said, listen, you say you want to live in the metaverse in a way.
Yeah,
I want to know
yeah, I
some of
do.
your ideas that you may have that you're looking to implement. If you're willing to
Hmm.
share. If you're willing to share.
If I'm willing to share, I
I'm
mean,
a
right
lending
now,
ear. I'm a lending ear is all.
it's I haven't really thought too far into the future. Right now, it's just me honing my skills while I figure out like a real plan to move forward and to really make this a full blown career.
Mm,
But my next endeavors is going to be me learning how to script, and I want to get my scripting level up to my level of building because I think that'll
gotcha.
be a magical thing, incredible for me, and my abilities. But also focusing on assets and things like that. And I want to actually build like my own asset library. Because if you notice, a lot of my things I do like reuse, but that's all in the aspect of you're in the same dream. It's the same thing. So you're going to have things cross worlds or
Yeah, I do
whatnot.
believe like you are creating a whole storyline with your worlds
Yeah.
right now. So
Oh,
that makes
that's
sense.
deep.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Um,
feels like I'm going into different chapters of like your life in a way.
yeah.
That's me personally from my experience
Hmm.
traveling
No,
through
I'm
your
just saying,
worlds.
like, you kind of caught on to that. There is a storyline behind the worlds. There actually is. I'm not ready to like explain the whole thing,
Okay,
but
that's
maybe
fine.
maybe one day.
Well, hopefully we'll get the exclusive when you are ready
Yeah,
to explain it.
yeah.
We'll do an
It gets real
update
deep.
check. We'll do an
Yeah.
update. Yeah. Yeah, I love
Um.
that.
Yeah, the future is just me building assets and like honing my skills. Essentially, business wise, I don't have too many plans. I do have some things in the works, but they're kind of like at the early stages, so it's not really anything to necessarily announce. But it may involve me joining a company or something like that, essentially, and becoming like a creative director within the metaverse, um, and heading some departments and companies and things like that. That is something that I do kind of see myself moving towards, possibly, if everything goes right. But I still also want to have my independent brand of wherever I land when it comes to that aspect, and everything. Because when you talk about monetization, you really kind of are talking about having a mindset of financial stability in your real life because we have bills to pay. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah,
think that's part of
definitely.
the reason a lot of people don't jump off the ledge and really go into like business for themselves because the financial stability. Like, will I be able to
Yeah.
sacrifice enough time in correlation to how much money I need to bring in? You know what I mean? So,
Mm.
I think that's a big part of it
So you want to
in
position
my future
yourself,
to
yeah,
do that.
position
Yeah,
yourself in order to be able to live off of the metaverse, and you're taking those actions right now.
yeah,
Good, good.
yeah. I just can't say a whole lot, but
Ah, you
yeah.
good, you good. I appreciate you. Look, we have I Go by Price here. Everyone calls him Price. Let
Or
them know your
Prince.
social, yeah, or what, or Prince.
People call me Prince by mistake or Igbo, and people think I'm
Uh,
Nigerian because of that, but I'm not.
Egg.
It's just
Oh,
Price. Yeah,
yeah, because it's all mushed together. So
yeah,
I go by
yeah,
Price. So, yeah, that's cool.
yeah.
Well,
That's
let
my
everybody
artist
know your
handle.
socials.
Oh yeah, everything is I go by price. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. It's all I go by price. My Cash App, I go by price. Everything is I go by
If you want to
price.
throw a little sign, you want to throw a little sign, I go by Price. And some of your
Donations.
worlds. Yeah, donations,
I'm
donations.
playing
We
though.
take donations. But yeah, mention some of your worlds so that whoever's
Yeah.
watching, yeah, they
Um.
might want to hop up in there. Let them know that
Oh yeah.
Last Girl sent you. If you're gonna post a picture onto his world,
Yeah.
let him know that Last Girl
Definitely
sent
do
me
that.
here.
I'll take a picture and share it on my Instagram too.
Yeah, that'll be
Um.
awesome.
But worlds I have is Price's R&B Cloud Lounge. You can go to the OG version, which is the original, or you can go to the newer version, the revamped version. The better version, in my opinion. You also have the basement. You also have the barbershop. Also have you, me, and 143 questions, formerly 134 questions. Price's Place is still published. My original whole concept of my meta home. And then also I have the Pillow Talk World. I have an art gallery called the Whirlwind Gallery that's still published.
A full
Um,
blown portfolio, people. A
full
full
blown.
blown portfolio.
Yeah.
He's out
Try
here.
to mix it up. Try to mix it up, people.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
that's
why I wanted to do
awesome.
my art gallery too. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think that might be all of them. Oh no, Space Junk and Go is like a little obstacle
Yo,
course. I don't
Space Junk
advertise
and
that a
Go.
lot,
It
but
is like a game, and I once brought a bunch of people from Arena Clash in there, and
mhm,
they were so frustrated, and I loved that. I
yes,
was like, "Yes, you
that's
wanted a
what.
challenge. I
Yes,
brought you to a
yeah,
challenge."
yeah. That was the
Yeah,
intent. The first night I
yeah,
dropped it actually was pretty hilarious. People couldn't get past that first moving object I had, and I'm like, it's not that hard. But people were
Yeah.
missing it, and I'm just like, y'all really not jumpers then. Like, you have the crowd
Yeah.
that explore, jump on stuff. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
y'all are just not jumpers because it wasn't that hard. But I ended up changing
Yeah.
it because of that, because so many people could not get past that first section, and they got mad. One dude was like, he felt like hurting somebody, and I'm like, bro, it's not that
Oh
deep.
yeah, it shouldn't be that deep.
but
Well,
that
I
was
still
the intent
suggest
though.
that you should go check that out because I think it's
Yeah,
a dope,
space
dope
junk and
world.
go.
Yeah, Space Junk and Go. And I
Yeah.
appreciate you again, Price,
Yeah,
for
thank you for
coming out
having
here
me.
and spending the time. Shout out to your family because I know they're in the background as
Yeah,
well.
they are. Yeah.
Yeah, that's love. But yeah, you know what it is. Listen, make sure you're out there loving each other, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye.